blackmailed, is it?
MI5?
They believe that the KGB people recently sent one of their top boffins over here, and our chaps are rather keen to bag him.
But it seems to me, sir, that I'm going to be pig in the middle.
Probably.
What do I get out of it, sir?
A crewman on HMS Hero is an unwitting pawn in a high-stakes chess match between MI5 and the KGB in tonight's episode, The Drop. HMS Hero docks in Malta, where Commander Nialls hosts a reception for Rear Admiral Mulliner and his guests, including Mr. Savona, Malta's biggest chandler, and Vera Chesnick, whom Savona introduces as his niece.
Good evening, Commander. It's much bigger than I thought.
That's what she said.
Meanwhile, Chief Petty Officer Donovan, Hero's stores chief, goes ashore to meet an old associate named Spiro. Donovan tells Spiro that he's there to collect the money he had to leave behind 3 years earlier, ill-gotten gains from smuggling supplies off the base. Spiro tells him that Gina, the woman Donovan left the money with, has disappeared, but in reality, Gina is now living with Spiro. What's worse, between them, they've spent all Donovan's money, and Gina is terrified that the notoriously hot-tempered Donovan will kill her. But Spiro has a plan.
Gina, how would you feel about living on a boat for a little while? Just for a week or two.
After spending the night searching for Gina, and drunkenly threatening to kill her if he finds her, Donovan breaks into her apartment, but she's not there. The next morning, Donovan meets Spiro, who confronts him with incriminating evidence.
These friends of mine, the ones that took the photos, they've got the body. All you have to do is play along with them.
Spiro tells Donovan that the people who have Gina's body want him to steal a specialized vacuum tube, or electronic valve in British parlance, used in Hero's electronic jamming system. If Donovan delivers the valve to Spiro, he won't be fingered in her murder. However, Master-at-Arms Heron becomes suspicious of Donovan and, together with First Officer Beaumont, intercepts him as he's preparing to leave the ship with the valve. Nialls places Donovan under arrest and discusses with Beaumont what to do next.
Nice work, Derek. That'd have been a devil to pay if we'd lost that. It's a job for naval security, isn't it? I'll drop the signal right away. Talk to the Admiral. I suppose we'd better talk to the base security officer too, whoever that is.
Nialls and Beaumont meet with Commander Large, the base security officer, who tells them that MI5 is interested in the case. Apparently, a top Soviet scientist has traveled to Malta to inspect the valve. MI5 would like to snag the scientist and use them as leverage for a prisoner swap. The plan is for Donovan to give Spiro another non-classified valve, and then tag along with him in order to lead MI5 to the scientist.
Are you telling us we've got to hand this thing over on a plate?
Well, if the worst thing happens, they can only save their side about a year's work. On the other hand, it could be a very useful lead for us.
All right, go on.
Well, the plan, such as it is, calls for your CPO to keep his date with Spiro and hand over the valve. And that's it, old boy.
I don't like it.
Well, why not?
We're sailors, not spies.
Nialls convinces Donovan to deliver the valve to Spiro, but then follows him discreetly to observe the transaction. However, Nialls is quickly waylaid by a mysterious man in black. Nialls is surprised to discover that the man is none other than Mr. Flynn, who earlier in the episode had literally bumped into Nialls and the Admiral during the reception on Hero. Seemingly just a harmless and rather obnoxious bore, Flynn was actually there to spy on the guests. Oh, and not only that, Flynn says, but Gina isn't really dead. The photos of her body were staged. Donovan delivers the valve to Spiro, who switches briefcases when he's not looking, except Donovan sees him and switches them back.
What in the world can that be?
What? Where? I don't see anything.
Turns out the other briefcase was actually a bomb, but instead of killing Donovan and Spiro, it kills a henchman working for Savona the Chandler, who is attending yet another Admiral's reception. As MI5 moves in to arrest Savona, his so-called niece Vera is able to escape, thanks unwittingly to the Admiral's aide, Lieutenant Commander Padden, who has spent the entire episode cock-blocking Beaumont. It turns out that she was the mysterious Soviet scientist all along.
Wipe your face, Alan. It's covered in egg.
Once again, everything quickly wraps up neatly at the episode's end.
I'm damn glad to be back at sea. Ooh, no sugar.
Of the first 5 episodes in Season 1, The Drop is the third to feature espionage as the central plot driver. It shares some similarities to the previous episode, Funny They All Say That, which also dealt with a blackmailed crew member. However, unlike in that episode, the regular cast members play active roles in this story, with Commander Nialls even going out at night in mufti to trail Donovan to the site of the drop. You may recognize Rear Admiral Mulliner from Nobody Said Frigate, the episode in which he ordered Hero to undertake a hazardous espionage mission off the coast of North Africa over Nialls' objections. Here, they seem to have patched up their differences. Another familiar face in this episode is Lieutenant Wakelin, played by Graham Eaton. Wakelin was the divisional officer for both Donovan and Petty Officer Willows, the man who was blackmailed by a Soviet agent in the previous episode, which makes his judgment of character perhaps just a little sus. Plus, Wakelin was responsible for bringing Flynn to the Admiral's party, where he caused quite a scene. And then there's this exchange with Beaumont.
Take it the girl with the Class 1 will be there?
Well, if she is, Monty, I'll rub one for you.
Over the course of their careers, Donald Burton and Tony Steedman, who plays Flynn, the undercover MI5 agent, appeared in many shows together, as well as in different episodes of the same series. Not surprising considering their skills and their reputations as actors with wide ranges. And when Burton and Steedman have appeared together, they're often at odds with each other, just as they were in this episode. Julian Curry, who played Lieutenant Commander Padden, is perhaps most widely known for playing the opera-loving barrister Claude Erskine Brown in the beloved and long-running series Rumpole of the Bailey. Fans of the Sandbaggers will recognize Rio Fanning, who played Petty Officer Donovan, from his role in the third season episode Unusual Approach, where he sported what many fans regard as the least convincing American accent ever attempted in that series.
Listen, son, we'll make it. I owe you a lot. I'm going to make it back to civilization for the express purpose of screwing the company on your behalf.
Robert Holmes, who wrote The Drop, has the unique distinction of having been the youngest commissioned officer in the British Army during World War II. Holmes later served as a police officer and a newspaper reporter before turning to television drama in the late 1950s. A prolific writer, today he is perhaps best remembered for his involvement in Doctor Who, for which he created 2 of the most memorable villains of the Jon Pertwee era, the Autons and the Sontarans. In addition to serving as the show's script editor, Holmes wrote the scripts for 19 Doctor Who adventures over the span of 5 Doctors throughout the 1970s and 80s. All in all, The Drop is a solid and enjoyable episode with plenty to keep the series leads busy. The plot is fairly complex with lots of moving parts and an abundance of secondary characters, but between Robert Holmes' deftly written script and Lenny Main's adroit direction, the viewer never falls behind. That being said, however, there does remain one unanswered question. Will Nialls order Lieutenant Wakelin to undergo some much-needed remedial operational security training? In the next episode, a derelict freighter turns out to have a few unpleasant surprises for the unsuspecting crew of HMS Hero. That's next time on Did Somebody Say Frigate?